Default roster. In this tutorial we will cover about default roster, manage default attendance roster, manage default off-duty roster.
Default roster enables duty processing when no duty is defined for a particular day for a particular staff, and it helps in creating a common default roster for the organization. If the staff's duty does not match organization's default roster, and if a duty is not scheduled for that staff, his or her attendance might show as absent. To set or view default roster, first open scheduling window from attendance and time workflow process duty schedule. Then go to roster setting button menu on top left corner and press add view default roster submenu. Create default roster pop-up window opens. At the bottom is the list of already created default rosters. You can create multiple default rosters, but effective from date should not overlap each other. This is helpful when creating default roster for special periods such as Ramadan. Roster name is the name of the default roster. On time is the duty start time. Late arrival starts from this time. Duty start is the earliest time staff can attend to office. It is usually 30 minutes or 1 hour before on time. Actual off time is the duty end time. The first time log after actual off time shows as sign off time in attendance. Off time is similar to time set for early go. If it is not applicable, keep it same as actual off time. OT start time can be any time between on time and the next duty's duty start time. Usually it is set as same as actual off time. Effective from defines the date from which the default roster would be active. By default, effective to date would be December 31st, 1999 unless another default roster is set. Is active checkbox allows to set future default rosters without it being effective. Check this box to make it active for the effective from date. Press save button to save the default roster. If successful, record added successfully message appears on top and default roster list gets updated immediately. When a previous default roster is set and a new default roster is set for a future date, previous roster ends to 1 day before effective from date. To update a default roster, click the roster to update from the list below. It should populate the form fields above. Now make the necessary changes and press update button. The change is reflected immediately in the default roster list below. To delete a created default roster, click the menu button at the end of the row in roster list. Press delete menu. If successfully deleted, record deleted message appears at top. It allows to undo the deletion by pressing the undo button. Similarly, off-day policy can be set from the same menu button. Go to Add OffDay Policy submenu. It opens Off-Day Policy for default roster pop-up window. Select the organization's off-day from off-day list. Press Add button to save the off-day for that roster. If successfully added, record added successfully message appears at top. The list below shows the roster name and the day selected as default off-day. To delete default off-day, press the delete icon at the end of the row. As before, it can be reverted back with the undo button at the top. To clear the form above, press reset button. To close the window, press cancel button.
Thank you for watching Keplar Time and Attendance series. Please subscribe to get the latest updates on Keplar.